What's up, guys? This is Hatsmania. I'm coming to you with a brand new deck profile, and today I wanted to show you guys my shark deck profile. So this is a little weird. I'm going to preface that. It's actually not pure shark. It is Dino-Rabbit shark, which opens you up to a lot more negation and a lot more combos than you would actually think. And it's not exactly what you would expect going into this. It's definitely something that's a little bit more original, and it is definitely not at its final stage of where I want it to be, but this is definitely a good place for it to be regardless. So, sharks are pretty budget. They're also really fun. It's a rank 4 spam deck. If you know me, I like my rank 4 spams. But the deck itself is pretty straightforward in terms of what it does. It makes toad. That's basically what it does. So let's just go into it. The sharks we're playing are 3 double fin shark and 3 silent angler. These are the only sharks we really play. I don't play saber shark and I don't play wind up shark. They do essentially the same thing. I would argue wind up shark is actually better just because it doesn't restrict you from summoning synchro monsters, which can be useful sometimes because we do play Theseus in the extra deck, and there is a reason for that. But these guys, these are your basic bread and butter sharks. These are what you really want to see. Silent Angler really more often than this. This is more of a late game card than this because it's a crane for fish. But this guy is definitely way better. So he's a free special summon from hand, but has the restriction that you can't special summon monsters from the hand for the rest of the turn, which can kind of suck. But because you do play Bubble Man in this build, so but regardless, Angler's pretty decent. Next, whoa, grab 4 cards. 3, Tin Goldfish. Tin Goldfish is pretty good. Probably one of my favorite cards in the deck just because it gets you just a free summon. It's an instant rank 4, and it also works really well with Rescue Rabbit and just spamming the board with unnecessary amounts of stuff. There is a really cool combo I'll show at the end that results in a +1 or +2 depending on what cards you have in hand. So I'll get to that when I get to that. And that does include Tin Goldfish in that combo. Next, 1 Rescue Rabbit. Obviously, we're playing Dino-Rabbit as an engine. So we're playing 3 of the most powerful water dino in the game, which is or water normal dino in the game, which is Megalo Smasher X. The fact that, it was unnecessary, honestly, for the Dino Structure deck to give us this. Cabazals was just fine enough, but hey, 2,000 meters, not bad. And on top of that, we're playing 3 7-colored fish. This is an old card you probably haven't seen in a while. And you're probably wondering, okay, he's playing Dino-Rabbit. Why is he playing 7-colored fish? Well, 1, it's a fish, so it works well with Double Fin Shark. It's also the most powerful normal level 4 water fish type monster in the game. So that's why we're playing this and not something like Space Mambo or Soul Eater or whatever the hell the other level 4s are. But it works really, really well with the deck. And if you open a painful decision or whatever, painful choice, you set up your Double Fin Shark first turn. So that's why we're playing him. Next, we are playing 2 Bubble Man. The future build that I want to show you guys at some point once I get the last card I need. I only need 1 more card, really. You play Shadow Mist in that build, and this card is basically, it's just another free summon. You will typically just use up all your hand, and then you just get the special summon this guy out for free. It's a level 4 water monster, and he's searchable, so that's also pretty cool. Next, here comes where it gets a little weird. If it wasn't weird enough before with the 7-color fish. 2 King of the Swamp. It's very similar to the Luna Light combo in what's it called? Zoo. So it's very similar for that. In this build, I'm not playing Fusion Substitute because it doesn't come up as much. If we were to switch to the more hero-inclined build, yes, I would be playing Fusion Substitute by far because it's a +1. So, or it's a 1-for-1 type of thing. So, this guy's really cool. Plus, I chose this guy over the Luna Light combo, just over Luna Light Black Sheep, just because he's an Aqua. Which is, if you soul charge him back, or if you, for whatever reason, need to, can summon him, if you have a board set up, and you can make Toad, and you just summon this off like a tin goldfish. It's weird interactions that sometimes come up. He's an Aqua that you contribute for your Toad. Next, 1 Max C, because it's one of the most broken cards in the game. 3 Instant Fusion, it's standard for Sharks. It just gets you stuff. 2 more Ray of Greed. This is actually completely necessary. You need 2. 3 is a little much sometimes. I don't ever think I ever needed 3. 2 is perfect. In my opinion, just because you draw into your normal monsters, you do not want them in your hand unless you search them. So shuffling them back into the deck is pretty necessary, and sometimes you get double fins too early, so that's another thing. You typically want to see Tin Goldfish and Angler as soon as possible. Next, for your normal support, we're playing 2 Unexpected Die and 2 Painful Decisions. So, obviously, Unexpected Die, it special summons out one of your normal monsters, and that's really helpful. Painful Decision is really cool because it thins out your deck for 2, it sets up double fin, and you get a monster to hand. So, yeah, all pretty good there. Next, 2 Polymerization, just regular poly. As I said before, in this particular build, I just prefer this, just because of some of the extra deck monsters that we are playing. So I just thought poly was better. You can play Fusion Substitute if you want, but in this build, I've just always wanted to see Polymerization over Fusion Substitute, just because Fusion Substitute only fuses from the field, whereas Polymerization does hand and field. 2 Twin Twisters, because back row can eat a dick. 1 Rhoda to search out your Bubble Man. 1 Soul Charge, because this card is stupid. And then finally, we're playing, for traps, 2 Psalm Strike, 1 Psalm Warning, and 1 Imperial Order. You can out this. I play Diamond Dyer, so it's if you need to activate spells, you just flip this. It also kind of backs your Toads, so that's also pretty cool. So, let's see here. I think that, yeah. So, with that, I'll show you my extra deck, and for that, we're going to start things off with Norden, obviously, and then Rare Fish, because it's a level 4 fish monster that's normal. It's an instant fusion target. It works ridiculously well with this deck. If Norden does get banned, Rare Fish is a perfectly fine substitute, just because it just has so much synergy with the deck. 1 Sea Monster of Theseus. This is actually really relevant in the case of, just simply because Dimensional Barrier exists. If they call Xyz, then typically you would be a little screwed, but I play Vermilion Dragon, so it doesn't really bother me. And also, this guy, First the Dragon. So, this guy's stupid. He's so difficult for decks currently to deal with. So, summoning him, basically, he reads, he has to be Fusion Summon. You can't Fusion Summon. You can't summon him any other way. But you can only control one of them, and this card cannot be destroyed by battle, except by battle with a normal monster, and is unaffected by other monsters' effects. So he can't be outed by, what's its face? What's it called? Dryden. He can't be outed by a lot of things. So it's just, yeah, he's so difficult to deal with, and he's just a wall. So unless there's some effect negation stuff going on, yeah, your opponent's not getting over him. For Xyz, they're playing 1 Dweller, 2 Bahamut. Yeah, I only have 1 Toad. You should have 2 Toad. The other, an okay replacement if you only have 1 Toad. You need one. You need a Toad, at least 1. Is Giant Hand. Giant Hand is perfectly okay. Just because he negates monster effects. Moving on, we're playing 1 Emerald because it recycles things and it's good for your little King of the Swamp combo. And then Diamond Dyer, because Diamond Dyer outs your own Imperial Order or anything else you wanted to. 1 Logia. I was playing both Logia and Dolka. Never ever went into Dolka. Logia, I just think, is just insanely better, and I think a lot of people agree with that statement just because he negates more things that are more relevant, usually. So, like, I believe Dolka only negates special summons, whereas Logia negates spells and traps and normal summons. So, yeah, Logia is just usually better. If I could play 2 of them, I would, but I don't have the room, nor do I ever go into a second one. So, 1 Castell, because it's Castell. 1 Honor Arc, because, like, it's a water monster. If you need to fulfill the requirement that you can only special summon water monsters for the rest of the turn, that's what it is. So, and then 1 Vermilion Dragon, this is what you summon using your Theseus into out the dimensional barrier. So you at least get something, and then you can at least pop something on their side of the field by banishing the Theseus. So it's not bad. I wish we had a better level 9 that we could use, but currently we don't. So that's working just fine. So, moving on, we are for the big combo that I think is the best one in this deck. Silent Angler, Tin Goldfish, a way to have Polymerization or Polymerization itself, Soul Charge, and I forgot one card. That would be your Rescue Rabbit. This would be probably the most ideal hand, just because it gets you 3 negates on board at the minimum, and it gets you a draw. So, and I say at the minimum because you could draw into a trap. So it's, yeah. So the way that this combo works is you're going to first, if you have King of the Swamp, you pitch it, and you search out that poly, or you just have poly in hand, and then you normal summon the Tin Goldfish, special summon the Rescue Rabbit, and then special summon the Silent Angler. So, you have 3 monsters on board, you have a way to make your first shark, so I'm just gonna do that now. There we go. That's your first shark. I wouldn't summon it yet just because you want to keep your board a little bit clear. Then I'm going to banish the Rescue Rabbit. Excuse me for that. And summon out the Megalo Smashers. I'm going to smash them up with that. So, that gives you 2 dinosaurs on the field to play. Actually, no, you're not going to make your first shark. That was a bad move. Excuse me. Let's go back. We can do that because I'm just showing you how the combo works. So, the reason why you don't do that yet is because you want 1 shark for each. You want 1 smasher for each shark, just so you can guarantee that they're both going to be in the graveyard when you're done. So, you're going to instead make both your sharks here. And in the case that you have both toads, as I said, you should have 2 toads for this. You're going to activate both of the Bahamut Sharks, and you're going to get your first toad, and you're going to activate the second one. You should discard the Smashers just in case. They are like, send the Smashers to the graveyard just because that's the most ideal, and we're just going to pretend that's a toad. So, at that point, okay, you have 2 negates on board. That's fantastic, but you can do some more. So, Polymerization, you fuse the Bahamut Sharks, and you go into Norden. So in this case, Fusion Substitute would be better because you would need it in that case. But in the case that you draw into more normal monsters, which does happen, versus the Dragons is still a great card. Anyway, Norden special summons out your literally anything. In this case, Silent Angler. And then you're going to make your Emerald. Emerald is going to trigger, send the Norden to the graveyard. Well, not trigger. You're going to activate Emerald. Emerald effects send Norden because you want to recycle them. Shuffle the Norden. Excuse me. The Norden. I already put that aside. And the 2 Bahamuts back into the extra deck because then you can use them for later. And then you get a +1. Now, you are now going to activate Soul Charge. And you're going to bring back your Smashers. So, with that, yes, in the end result, it didn't really matter, but in the case that something happens, you want these in the grave as soon as possible. So, the Smashers, you're going to use them, and finally make the Logia. So, you have 3 negates on board, you're at 6,000 life points, and you have a random card. Hopefully it's a trap, because that's a 4th negate, because that's probably the best card at that point that you could probably make. And you have a Silent Angler live that you can use next turn, or if it's somehow sent to the graveyard for whatever reason, you have an Angler that you can have in the graveyard that you can use for a double fin shark. So, with that, thank you guys for watching this deck profile. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a nice day.